Join the discussion.
Hello and welcome to Join the Discussion. My name is Danesi Momoh, and you may know me as the host of Join the Discussion. But today I have an amazing guest with me, and I'll throw it over to him to introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Danesi. I'm a filmmaker, photographer, and student.
Yeah, and so much more. And so much more. Um, just being a little modest introduction. Today's topic is on marginalized individuals who face like discrimination in the workforce. So that's kind of just been the topic throughout this season. And I'm blessed to have individuals to come out and share their experiences in different industries, whether it's women in STEM, men in technology. And I'm blessed to have Danesi, who's also in this huge industry of photography, videography, directing, so on and so forth. Being a model or in also the pageant world, there is different levels, I'll say, of discrimination that models face, especially what certain designers are looking for in regards to skin color, size, looks, having certain European standards. But I feel like the world or the industry has been slightly diverting to more culture and changing in a sense. However, I would love to hear like your opinion if you face anything as like a videographer, photographer, director, or you personally, or anything you've seen in your years of
Um,
experience.
I feel like there's just always that, like, especially like just being like African to start with. Like, I feel like there's just always that like factor that there's a high chance you're gonna be overlooked just
Mm,
because you're not taken as someone from the space. So I feel like that's just the only like, would I say a constant challenge, like just being looked at like, okay, like for instance, even in the music space, this is a perfect example. Like people would introduce me as an Afrobeat um music video director. Like it's just all that micro, it's not like,
mm,
yeah, and I'm like, yo, I don't even listen to that much, Afrobeats. I like hip hop too. I like
mhm.
R&B, like those are the I also like to deal with those kind of clientele, but it's really difficult to connect just because of like my background or like my accent. So
Mm,
from just my own little observations, that's just what I noticed. But obviously I never let it stop me. I just always get what I want
yeah.
to get. It's just something that I know that I have to push through all the time. Like it's becoming so normal that I don't even like acknowledge it. I don't even that's why I feel like that's what they're microaggressions.
Mhm.
It was there's that much documentary and we're going deep into similar conversations and I realized that I had even like I started using my English name as my first name. And that's technically not my first name,
Mhm.
but I started using it as my first name just because I was tired of having to like explain to people how to pronounce my name, or this is what a name is, or
Mhm.
this is where I'm from. Whereas it shouldn't be a whole ass conversation,
Yeah.
you know? Like it's like if someone was a like for instance someone comes and was like, oh my name is Bob. When I ask them, oh, is it Bobby? Like, it's not gonna be a whole
Yeah.
ass conversation like, oh,
Yeah.
I've never heard Bob before. Where you
Yeah.
from? Like, but with me and not even there's spaces that you could have those conversations, yes. But for me it's like I'd be having those conversations in spaces that I don't want to have those conversations.
Mhm.
And that's been my own like personal observation. But other than that, like I just feel like it's a constant. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, so we just hopefully we can deconstruct it, but it's just one of them ones that I've just been living with, you know. But yeah,
I can totally attest to the whole name thing because it's easier for me to say Jill. And a lot of times people like assume Jillian, which pisses me off.
exactly.
I'm
It's
like,
like, bro,
yeah,
some
they're
effort.
like, oh, Jillian. And I'm like, no, come on. And then that just brings up a whole other conversation. It's like, oh, where are you from? I'm like, born and raised in Canada. And they're like, oh, but what's your background? It's like, no, but I understand. And it's funny because usually in these spaces, like if I see anyone of color, I tend to ask them for their whole name. Like, I
Yeah.
tell them, don't give me their English name because a lot of times they do. And I'm like, no, I want to actually know and properly pronounce your name and not be so westernized and think that we have to go by an English name.
Yeah.
Be
Like,
easy.
hi, I'm David.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. It irritates me. But it is what it is until it's not.
Exactly. Like it's just one of them things that until it's highlighted and like actually checked like constantly and consciously, like the negatives will be like constant, like the microaggressions rather will be constant. So
Yeah.
I feel like we need to check that with like, oh yeah, be proud of where you're from, who you are, like your identity is part of like, what makes you unique.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of your essence, it's part of what makes you you.
Exactly.
So you can't be trying to like, take apart just to make people comfortable or just to accommodate people that you don't necessarily need to accommodate, but to
Mm-hmm.
accommodate people that would not accommodate you.
Mm-hmm. It's just important for people to stay true to their authentic self and to their culture and their heritage and not be, I guess, shy or need to feel small in certain spaces. They can feel confident in who they are to just be like, hey, this is my name, and this is where I'm from, and let's get the job done.
Let's get to work.
Yeah, let's get to work. Would you say like, so I'll say there is microaggression and a bit of like racial biasness? Because for me, like depending on the photographer, which is why I'm biased when it comes to like working with you, I just feel like you just know everything and you're very knowledgeable in what you do, like surpass expertise. Anyways, but with certain people, not everyone is kind of like that. So when it comes to working with certain photographers, um, I've had issues and I'm not a darker complexion compared to our range of blackness. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes they'll make like little sneaky comments about lighting, or they'll be like, oh, she's a bit dark. We need to make sure we have brighter lighting and like little things like that that certain photographers would say. And I'm just like, oh, okay. I've never experienced that with you, of course.
Mm,
But
thankfully.
yeah. But have you ever been on set and witnessed anything like that?
Um, what I noticed though, there's some people that obviously because of their market, they're used to like working with like certain a certain demographic, so
Mm-hmm.
they never really know what to do when they're in other spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know this year personally went out of my way to like mix up a little bit, like try and work with like people from different walks of life, because I realized that I don't want my story to be very like monotonous. I don't want like my like if you will notice, I started doing this black and white thing, and that's actually due to
Oh.
due to that same bias. Like obviously I'm not announcing it to people that yeah I'm posting in black and white just so we could actually like feel like I don't know how to explain it properly. It's like I want you to feel the photo
I hear
without being over analytical, without being like, oh
you.
yeah, this person is lighter than this person. It's literally all you see is like grayscale or sepia tones,
Mhm.
like black tones or white tones. And that just kind of like limits the playing field and
Yeah.
you're able to like actually focus on what is happening in the moment. So that's just been my own personal like adjustment. Aside from that, I've not had any like I've also not been doing a lot of like um let's say industry work. Like I've just been doing more personal work for the past year or two, just toning things down a little bit. So there's not really been room to like really like be in these kind of spaces because now I'm just in spaces that I really want to be in. And for me to want to be in that space, and it's like, it's a legitimate person.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I'm just, I'm happy to like to have met you, to be honest,
You know?
in this industry.
Likewise.
Yeah. definitely. You're someone I truly rank up there and appreciate. You're too humble sometimes, I feel. But
Me too.
me too.
I'm
No,
also too humble. Like,
no. Because your artwork is so like it's not monotone, I would say. Like you differentiate in like different I wouldn't say
I,
categories, but like
I feel like that's just been like me and you've had this conversation before when I was talking about like when I was just like rich and successful and famous people, they're like, it's about the journey, not the destination. I just feel like in the process of getting something, I've gotten a lot of things and I've been able to like even in like my trials and everything, like I've been able to learn a lot. So that's where the let's say the range
mhm,
comes from. And that's also part of why I'm like kind of slowing things down because I realize I've been all over the place, doing everything, anything. And I'm learning a lot, yes, but I also feel like I've not been giving attention to some areas that I want to give attention to. So, which is what this phase is about. But yeah, it's a blessing to know you as well. Mrs. Runway, famous,
oh
you
stop.
know, Fashion Week, everyday Fashion Week type vibes.
Okay, there. Okay, director. Okay, we see you. We see you. I have like two more questions for you.
All right, cinnamon.
One is, I know for me, I don't know, I feel like there's different, like the industry is huge, and you can literally stick to one niche of an industry and still like climb. But how can I word this? I've been able to work for different brands, different demographics, different cultures, whatnot, what forth. And sometimes people say it's easier to work with your demographic just because um, I don't know, you'll know everything type thing, like it'll be smooth sailing. But I've realized that that's not always the case. And spreading your wings and flying to other demographics is
No real shit. Like it's like there's this thing that I don't know how to word it properly. There's this Nigerian proverb. It's like, Sha, you shall have to go outside. I don't know how to word it, so I'm not going
Mhm,
to try. But you pretty much have to like it's when you're respected outside, you become
mhm,
respected at home. Like,
mhm,
and me personally, I noticed that when I'm working with my people, it's like I don't get treated as professionally.
mhm,
Obviously, that's because they're very comfortable. Like, because they realize that you, this is my brother, and they're really comfortable. So it's not even anyone's fault. But then sometimes when I'm trying to just be like very professional and straight business, I rather not work with my guys or my people because I don't feel like I'm as valued
mhm,
for a lot of reasons. And it's not like it's very like subconscious for the other party. It's not like they want to be an asshole. It's not like they want to waste my time. It's just that comfort of that, like, yo, man, this is my guy, it's my bro.
mhm,
So, and for me, I find that very disorienting because I'm in a space where I'm on routine, like very strict routine. And I find out that, like, just sometimes, like, when I'm in these spaces, I get thrown off of my game or element. But it's not always the case. It's not always the case. It's all about just finding people that are more aligned and which is also going back to what I said about putting my time. It's like I've not been meeting a lot of these people lately because first of all, I don't have time to meet these kind of people, and secondly, it's like we have to meet in the middle. We have to connect. Like our interests have to align for us to even be like communicating or getting any work done. And I find that that's been a very good way to like kind of like filter like the serious and unserious. Because I noticed as much as it could be a demographic thing, it's also just an everybody thing. I feel like the same way you have good people, you have bad people. It's like applies to all. So it's just one of them ones about just putting yourself in the best positions to like best position to not be around these people and to just be around like positive people and forward people.
and
And
how to like date
positive
those types of people.
Mm-hmm. And positive people and forward people could be like of any skin tone, any race, could be from. That's one thing Canada has taught me. Like it's like I've met people from different walks of life. Like there's even people that I never saw myself like just because of where I'm coming from and the stigma attached. But
Mm.
then now you find out that these are like my guys. These are like
Yeah,
my people now. So it's
yeah.
like I realized that there's no like good people have there's no specific demographic of like, okay, good people or good clients. So the
Mhm.
best you do for yourself is just put yourself in a position where you don't come across these people. Like fine once in a while, but then if you're protecting your processes and protecting your time,
Mhm.
yeah, but that's
I hear you. I agree. I was about to say there's even a lot of prejudiceness within our own communities.
hmm
So you can't say like, oh, there's always, as you put it, negative and positive in all demographics, all communities, all cultures. Like there's no one particular skin tone or color as to what is not negative or positive. So
exactly.
not. And I think that kind of tied into my second question that I was gonna ask you, which you kind of already covered, just talking about both demographics, I would say, and people taking you seriously. And if you feel like you have to work harder to like prove yourself when you're in different spaces or um
Definitely. Like I feel like, but now it's also low-key being a very, very like me now, I've been very, very like nonchalant with some type of work. So there's some type of work that I want to approach as cold and as professional as possible with no emotional attachment to or like communication. I could literally even pull up with my headphones like to work, like just because I'm not trying to actually like connect to anybody, just
mhm,
there to do my job and go. And I do that on purpose at spaces that they expect me to
mhm.
overly try and prove myself, like spoil like, the nigga in the room. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Like spaces that they expect me to be like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I'm still going to be as lax and as very nonchalant, but then I'll still get my job done
Mhm.
150%, like properly. Just to also to prove a point and let them know that like you cannot just judge people off of like a preconceived notion or like so I really really try to know like and then I'm also like observant to the spaces. I know that when I'm working in some Nigerian spaces I have to play the role of a leader and someone that is guiding everyone as opposed to like alongside the service provider role I have to also like lead and like be like, okay, yeah, this is how we're doing it, this is why I do this is my reason. Fine, I don't like explaining myself, but I noticed that it's very necessary in those spaces because you need to carry them along. And when you don't carry them along, it's just like it's not their industry, it's not their world. It might be a
Yeah,
norm for you, but it's just they just don't know what is going on. So
yeah. Mhm. What would you suggest or recommend to young boys that look like you that want to get into the industry that you're in?
um I feel like well, if I don't go miss man. So there's a class I took a while ago, an ethics class, and they were talking about I don't know the opposite. Let me Google this one second. I want to this is the internet. Hmm.
I feel like it's just so important to be aware of different cultures. Um,
Definitely. Like go on, sir.
oh yeah, and just even based on some cultures, there's also certain religious beliefs and people's comfortabilities, and you can't just make assumptions because oh one person did this that everybody else should do
Exactly,
that.
exactly. Like it's like you can't just put a stigma on people and you
Exactly.
need to like stay motivated. That's the main thing too.
Mhm.
Because sometimes it's easy to just like for instance, this is just count yourself out mentally
Mhm.
just because of your stereotypes. As
Mhm.
much as it's like, oh, you're having a like demoralized day, your stereotypes could also like obstruct your progress. Because like an example, let's say your parents are always dissing brown people, or yeah, let's just say your parents are always dissing brown people, and now your boss is a brown mans or your coworkers, and now all of a sudden you don't want to like, you start trying to treat them less. Meanwhile, the reality of it is they've been there longer than you. They would have probably been able to like guide you, put you on, like you don't know everything. So just being open to like people from different walks of life, like that's just keeping an open mind. Yeah, I feel like that's my advice to young people or young boys, young men, that look like me, that just keep an open mind and stay focused.
Keeping up in mind and stay focused. And the words of Danesi.
Can you be serious?
I like that. Well, that's what this world needs, is to keep an open mind and to stay focused.
Like,
Open
like
mind and a lot of
Steve, yeah, man, because like,
discrimination.
I feel like
Right.
everybody has an idea of how life should work or how the world should work, and that's also part of what fucks up everything. Because it's like people are so like stuck in their ways, so it's hard to like actually like
Yeah.
process stuff. Like I
People are
was listening to
stuck in their-
something. What did you say?
People are stuck in their ignorance.
I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and they were like, the opposite of a good idea could also be another good idea. And I was thinking about that till I slept, because I was like, damn, that's true though, because sometimes you're on sets, you're doing something away, and someone's like, yo, what if you do it like this? They're like, no. You don't even want to process it because you think you know how it should be done. Meanwhile, that could also be very like, significant. And yeah, just keeping an open mind, man. And like even with like the artists, like the same podcast episode, the guy was like, oh, in his studio, he has a rule which says we demonstrate everything. So instead of explaining, oh, you could do this like this, you could do this like this, right? He rather whoever you are, whether you're an intern, PA, whatever, as long as you're in that space and you're working, you're gonna have the ability to like demonstrate like your ideas or like show what you're about. And I feel like that's a good method to adapt, because now you are more like, you can think more critically. Like you could actually like, okay, yeah, this is what I want to like offer, or this is what I want to learn from this space. So yeah, man, open mind is key.
Open mind is key.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear you. Being more inclusive is important in all spaces, in all work environments. Thank you for joining in on the discussion. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. God bless you.
God bless you too, and I hope to have you again.
Thank you. Hope to be here soon. Boy.